So Jay, here are the problems you sent me. This first one, 17 years into minutes. You would definitely start by the 17 years because that's what you're given. And what you can do there is you can literally just put it over 1 just to have a bottom number for your fraction there. So if I just say 17 years over 1, and then I just want to keep in mind, I'm trying to get to minutes, right? I don't know how many minutes. I'm in years right now. So the first thing I would do is put your next fraction bar and put years on the bottom. And then if you don't know how many minutes there are in a year, like me, then you would say 1 year and then think about a number you do know, like maybe days. I know that there are 365 days in 1 year. The important thing is that your conversion factor is equal to 1 because then you're not really changing the value of the original number. And then, so my years, I can cancel those out. Now, if you don't like canceling out, you don't have to do that, but that's just a way of sort of keeping track of your units. So we're in days now, but we're trying to get to minutes. Again, I don't know how many minutes there are in a day off the top of my head, but I know hours. Days are going to go on the bottom. And 1 day, and then I can go to hours, and there are 24 hours in a day. So again, I would cancel my days out top and bottom just to show that that unit is now gone. And if I stop the problem right now, I'd be in hours. But obviously the question asked for minutes. So do I know how many minutes are in an hour? I do. So I'm going to put hours on the bottom again because I want those to cancel. And I'll put minutes on the top. And then I know 1 hour is equivalent to 60 minutes. And so now, again, I could cancel my hours, and you're done as far as setting up the problem. So the next thing you would do is in your calculator, you would do 17 times 365 times 24 times 60, because all the bottom numbers obviously are 1. So that's how I would set this up. Just start with your units of years. Think, how do I get from years to a unit that would be closer to minutes, like days, and then from days to hours, and then hours to minutes. So I hope that helps with that. So number 47, Jay, you're given an air conditioning system can circulate 320 cubic feet of air per minute. And that's the only value you're given. So obviously you're going to start with that. So I'm going to go ahead and write down 320 cubic feet, so feet with a 3 above it, obviously, and then per minute, so I'll put minutes on the bottom. And they want you to calculate how many cubic yards of air it could circulate per minute. So you're trying to get to cubic yards per minute. Now, the good news is the bottom unit doesn't change, so I don't have to mess with the bottom unit at all. I just have to get the top unit converted. So I'm really just going from feet to yards, but because it's cubic, I have to do it 3 times. So feet are on the top, so I'm going to put feet on the bottom, and I'm going to put yards on the top. And a yard is longer, so I'll say I have 1 yard, and I know 3 feet make a yard. But I have to do that 3 times, again, because the unit is cubed, and right now I only have a linear unit, top and bottom. So I'm just going to repeat that same multiplication, 1 yard per 3 feet, and then again one more time, 1 yard per 3 feet. And then remember, a foot times a foot times a foot is a cubic foot. So now the cubic feet on the bottom can cancel that cubic foot on the top, and the yards on the top times 3 would give me cubic yards. So my units are going to work out here. And so what you would do then basically is you'd end up taking 320 and dividing it by 3 times, or just divide by 27, and that should give you the correct answer. When I do that, I get 11.85. I'll call it 11.9, and that's going to be cubic yards per minute. Again, we didn't have to change the bottom unit because it was already what we wanted. So I hope that clarifies that one. So Jay, the first problem for this one is the company charging you 10 cents per kilowatt hour of electricity. And we want you to calculate how much it would cost, so that's dollars or cents, to operate a chandelier that has 5 75-watt light bulbs for 90 minutes. So I would start with my rate, my 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So I'm going to write that just 10 cents per is obviously my fraction bar, kilowatt hour. So I have a double unit on the bottom. Now the 10 cents is good to go on the top because again, I'm trying to get to cost, which is just my money amount. But I need to get the kilowatts and the hours to cancel, and they're on the bottom, so they're going to have to go on the top. So if I go back and look at the problem, I have 5 75-watt light bulbs. So 5 times, and then watts are obviously not the same as a kilowatt. Kilo means 1,000, so it takes 1,000 watts to make a kilowatt. So I'm just going to take that 75 and divide it by 1,000, or move the decimal 3 places, and that'll give me 0.075 kilowatts for the light bulbs. And then I can just put that over 1. I don't have a bottom unit there, and my kilowatts will cancel. And then I also need to get rid of hours, so hopefully they've given me a time, and they did. We're running this for 90 minutes. So hours are on the bottom. I'm going to put hours on the top. Now the issue I have again, of course, though, is that they've given it to me in minutes, but I know 90 minutes is just an hour and a half. So I'm going to call that 1.5 hours and put it over 1 again. Now my hours cancel, and I can just multiply across the top there. I think if you do that, you get 0.57 cents. You can double check that in your calculator. I don't have my calculator handy right now. And then let's take a look at the second problem, which is the Benadryl. You're giving it to a 100-pound person. Now that 100 pounds really is just a distractor in the problem. It doesn't matter how much the person weighs. They've given you a rate, 25 milligrams every 6 hours is what the person is taking. And so they're asking you to calculate how much liquid Benadryl, and then they give you the concentration in milligrams per milliliter, should be taken in a week. So because they asked for liquid in a week, I'm looking for milliliters per week. And they've given me the original dosage again, or the rate, the dosage, I guess I could think of that as 25 milligrams. So it's in milligrams per 6 hours. So I have to convert the top unit to milliliters and the bottom unit to weeks. So I have 25 milligrams. Now my concentration they've given me is in milligrams per milliliter. So that's what I'm going to use to cancel the milligrams and get to milliliters. I'm going to put the 5 milliliters on the top because that's what I want to get to on the top. And of course the 12.5 milligrams on the bottom will cancel the milligrams that are on the top right now. Now I have to convert the bottom unit, which is in hours, and I need to get to weeks. Well, I could go for, I don't know how many hours are in a week, but I know how many hours are in a day. So I'm going to put hours on the top so they cancel with the hours on the bottom. And puts days on the bottom, and I know if I have 1 day, I have 24 hours. So my hours are gone. And now I'm in milliliters per day, but they want milliliters per week. So I'll do one more conversion. Days are going to go on the top. Weeks are going to go on the bottom. And I know it takes 7 days to make a week. So I should be good to go now. My days have canceled. And if I multiply across the top and then divide out the numbers on the bottom, I don't recall the answer to this, but it should be on my key. If you have any questions about this or any of these problems or anything you want to talk about, Jay, tomorrow, feel free to come by my classroom after lunch. But email me and let me know if you're going to do that, just so I know, because sometimes I go out to check on other kids. But I can drive you back to school too. So if you would like to do that, let me know. I hope this helped.